It's 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV for Wednesday, December 18th, 2024. I'm Derek Gilbert with 5 things you need to know for this Wednesday. Item number 5 today is Syria, where rebel leader Abu Muhammad al-Jawlani has warned Israel to get off the Golan Heights, or at least the Syrian part of it. This follows a few developments since Monday night. An Israeli airstrike near the port city of Tartus generated a massive explosion, apparently hitting a weapons depot that actually registered a 3.0 on the Richter scale. This is about 9 miles from the port city. Israel has also announced it plans to double its population on the Golan Heights, setting up more cities there, encouraging more settlements. This has drawn international condemnation, as you would expect. United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres last week calling on Israel to halt its attacks on Syria following the fall of Bashar al-Assad. Guterres calling this recent and extensive violations of Syria's sovereignty, referring to it as deeply concerning. Deeply concerning. Strong language. The fact is that Syria no longer has any territorial sovereignty. Syria is a nation in name only. As we've said before, it's already divided up into various parts. The Kurds controlling the northeast of the Euphrates River, Turkish-backed groups, and Turkey itself controlling areas along the border. This group headed by al-Jawlani, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or HTS, controls the central part of the country, the city of Damascus, second largest city, Aleppo, and the area along the border. But the Druze and some Christian communities in control in the south and along the border with Israel, along in the Golan Heights, where, as I told you yesterday, half a dozen Druze villages basically calling on Israel to annex them. They've got relatives on the Israeli side of the border, and they've been having to communicate for the last, 60 years since Israel took the Golan Heights in the 1967 Six-Day War, by sitting on benches on either side of the buffer zone and talking to each other with megaphones. So they would like to be reunited, and they realized they'd get a better deal from Israel. They'd be treated better than they would by the fundamentalist Sunni rebels 30 miles away in Damascus, or actually less than that, because Israel's buffer zone now extends to within about 16 miles of Damascus. Anyway, al-Jawlani said in an interview reported by the New York Times, it's no longer necessary for Israel to be on the Syrian side of the Golan Heights because the collapse of the Assad regime has removed the threat from Hezbollah and other Iranian proxies. Well, that's all well and good, but it's not them Israel is worried about. Topic number 4, Turkey. Meanwhile, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is pushing for an immediate improvement in relations between his country and the European Union. He met with EU President Ursula von der Leyen that focused on the transition of power in Syria. Again, such as it is, Syria divided up into several different semi-autonomous zones. Turkey has wanted to become part of the European Union since 1999. The membership bid has been kind of held out there as a carrot for a long time, but put on suspension back in 2018 because Turkey was facilitating the movement of literally millions of Syrian refugees into Europe. Well, the fall of Assad means Turkey is now looking west for allies, downgrading its ties with Iran. The fact that Turkey as head of intelligence was seen being chauffeured around Damascus by Abu Muhammad al-Jawlani, leader of the rebel group HTS, means Erdogan's not even concerned about hiding the fact that he basically backed this coup, this transition of power. The fall of the Assad regime also means that one of Iran's main proxies in the region, the Assad regime, has been eliminated, and the transit route for weapons from Iran to Hezbollah in Lebanon has now been cut. Now, what does this mean for relations between Turkey and Russia? Russia, one of the main allies of Bashar al-Assad. Unclear at this time. Putin may still see Turkey as a valuable partner as a transit point for Russian oil and natural gas to its remaining customers in Europe, mainly Hungary, where Prime Minister Viktor Orban has said that that it wants closer ties with Russia. It sees Russia as a valuable supplier of cheap and abundant energy, very helpful to its economy. And the rise of conservative parties in Germany, which is facing re-election, snap elections coming up in February because the chancellor there, Olaf Scholz, lost a vote of confidence in the Bundestag, and the rise of the National Front in France, the rise of the Reform Party in the United Kingdom. Parties that are not really interested in continuing the proxy war between NATO and Russia in Ukraine means that we may be seeing a fundamental shift in geopolitics between West and East. Now, having said that, the neocon's not going to go down without a fight, so we will see how this plays out. 2025 shaping up to be a very, very interesting year. Item number 3, the New Jersey drones. Another explanation being floated now is missing radioactive material in New Jersey. Not one of those missing nuclear warheads from Ukraine, as we mentioned yesterday. This theory put out over the weekend by John Ferguson, the CEO of a drone manufacturing company called Saxon Unmanned. They make drones for the military. This device that went missing earlier this year, known as a pin source, contains a small amount of germanium-68. It's used to calibrate scanners, medical scanners that are testing for cancer. And if it's handled without proper gear, it can cause radiation poisoning. U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission issued the alert for this missing gear just a few days ago. Again, drones have been floating in the skies over New Jersey since about November 15th or so. So the question is this connected? Would these drones with radiation detectors even be able to sense something as with such a small amount of radiation as this? It's not likely that a pin detector would, or a pin source rather, would be useful to somebody wanting to create a dirty bomb, but somebody handling this without knowing what they're doing could give themselves a mild case of radiation poisoning, could get hurt. Topic number 2, Diddy. Prosecutors think he did, but Sean Diddy Combs, who hosted parties that were notorious in Hollywood for their wildness and their debauchery. Apparently, Diddy was taping participants in these parties, much in the way that Jeffrey Epstein is alleged to have done. And according to actor Daniel Baldwin of the Baldwin acting family, Daniel's second oldest. Alec is the oldest. Stephen and William are the younger brothers. Daniel is number 2 of the 4. Anyway, he claimed in a podcast interview that he's heard from friends, attorneys, that there are representatives for several Hollywood A-list celebrities engaged in a bidding war to buy these tapes to keep them out of the hands of investigators. Baldwin didn't name which celebrities might be involved, but he hinted that they're trying to buy the tapes to keep the A-listers out of the press. They're terrified, apparently, again, allegedly, we have to say, that showing up in these tapes of Diddy's so-called freak-offs might connect them to a long list of crimes of which Diddy is accused. Coming up, the ultimate in sticker shock. It's what you get when the government is the one buying the vehicles. I'll explain next on 5 and 10.
Right now is the time to understand what the global powers that be are planning to unleash in an effort to perpetuate continued conflict on the world stage, regardless of the changing of presidencies or the will of citizens. Skywatch TV urges you to take advantage of the Preparing for World War III Hyper Collection. This incredible collection includes not only Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis's new book, Preparing for World War III, A Global Conflict That Redefines Tomorrow, but it also includes his best-selling book, Progressive Evil, How Radicals Are Redefining America's Rights, Institutions, and Ideals, Making Her Globally Irrelevant for the End Times. Now, you'll receive both of these urgently needed works, but that's not all. You'll also receive the Shadowland book and companion DVD that exposes everything from Jeffrey Epstein to the Clintons to the occult elite and reveals the deep state actors at war with Christianity, Donald Trump, and America's destiny. These best-selling features are both by the internationally acclaimed best-selling author Dr. Thomas Horn, with foreword by Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis. Sold separately, these items hold a retail value of over $85. Yours now for your donation of only $45, which includes free shipping to all U.S. orders. You can support the ministry of Skywatch TV and help us continue spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ throughout the four corners of the world right now by scanning the QR code on your screen, using the camera app on your phone for instant access to this special opportunity. Visit us at skywatchtvstore.com or call 1-844-750-4985 and ask for the Preparing for World War III Hyper Collection right now. You need to get your copy right away. You need to do it right away. The information in this book is timely. This is a clinic.
Item number 1 today, the ultimate in sticker shock. The U.S. Postal Service, wanting to electrify its fleet of Postal Service delivery vehicles, has spent $3 billion on electric mail trucks, and so far they've only taken delivery of 93. Postal Service wanted to buy 60,000 of these so-called next-generation delivery vehicles, or NGDVs, most of them electric, from defense contractor Oshkosh. Now, Oshkosh has a long history of building heavy industrial vehicles, military vehicles, but not postal trucks. New thing for them. Congress allocated $3 billion out of a $10 billion project in the 2022 Inflation Reduction Act, which, like everything Congress does exactly of what the title of the bill suggests. This one of Biden's chief legislative accomplishments. Thank you, sir. But as of November, the Postal Service has only received 93 of the expected 3,000 they were supposed to have received by November. Oshkosh only able to make one per day. They'd expected, according to internal communications, to be turning out 80 of these per day. Workers running leak tests on one of these trucks found that water poured out of the vehicle as though those oversized windows had been left open in a heavy rainstorm. That's a QC issue, quality or QA, quality assurance issue. Anyway, Oshkosh again producing just one per day instead of 80. $3 billion divided by just 93 trucks. That's about $32.2 million a piece. Makes you wonder how Oshkosh got this contract in the first place. 10% for the big guy. Just thinking out loud. Skywatch TV's virtual conference, the Defender Conference, called the Resurrection War, on right now. Instant access, 24 presenters. Just friends of the show. You know, guys like Carl Teichribb, scholars like Dr. Mike Spalding, Dr. Judd Burton, even new friend Luke Rogers of the Blurry Creatures podcast taking part in this. You can get instant access for 90 days to all of these at defenderconference.com, defenderconference.com. A very timely program on the main broadcast show this week. Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis, his brand new book, Preparing for World War III. We've been talking about this all year as we watch the slow engagement, direct engagement of the United States, United Kingdom, NATO in what's happening between Russia and Ukraine. We pray that President Trump can pull us back from the brink of World War III, but if not, how do we get ready for it? Don't miss this program. Colonel McGinnis has insights that you and I are not privy to because of his unique access to the halls of the Pentagon. Watch the program right now at skywatchtv.com. You can also catch it right now over the air. Our broadcast program is at, the program schedule, where you can watch the broadcast program, posted at skywatchtv.com/channels. Now, if you've got Roku, Apple TV, or an Amazon Fire Stick, a smart TV with Roku or Fire TV preloaded, make sure you've got the Skywatch TV channel added to your set-top box. That way, all of our video content comes right to your big screen. You can also watch it on the internet, youtube.com/@Skywatch Television, rumble.com/Skywatch TV, or download our free mobile app to your smartphone or tablet. That will guarantee that you bypass the gatekeepers of big tech. We never get canceled that way. We've got apps for iOS, Android, and Amazon Kindle Fire, phones and tablets, and links to their app stores at skywatchtv.com. Watch 5 in 10 at YouTube, it's youtube.com/@5 in 10. You can also follow us on X, formerly Twitter, @5_in_10. And thank you for watching. As we keep watch, I'm Derek Gilbert. This is 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV.